yeah, I'm 10, 12 years in, I got 4 MVPs and 4 championships. Like, but do I still want to do this shit? You know what I'm saying?
Because you know how hard it is.
Some people say, I want to go play baseball.
There's no turn it on here, turn it off here. It's just 110% at all times. So, if I burn out, I burn out.
Pierce had it poked away, stolen by Jordan. Lojas down on the floor. It's loose to Humphries. 4 to shoot. Humphries 3.
You like the idea. Jordan coming up with the steal.
Oh, look
again.
at that. The 40-year-old dives to the hardwood.
Kevin's a great player. I think that his legacy is complicated. I don't like any guys who join super teams. I'm biased against LeBron when comparing him to Michael, joining Dwayne and those guys. Because, when we had this debate, and LeBron's amazing and spectacular, but I was like, Michael didn't join anybody. He just kept getting his ass kicked and got bigger and got stronger and finally knocked the wall down. And, Kevin, who's a great player, other than the fact when he joined the Warriors, he hasn't been successful anywhere else. And I don't hold that against him, but he wants to be considered in that list. He's not on that list. He's not on that list. He's a great, great player, but he's not on that list. He wants to be like, wow, he's not in the GOAT conversation, because you're not, plain and simple.
Damn.
You had great success when you joined the Warriors, but not only did you not have success, you actually flamed out in those other places. You got swept last year in the playoffs. You didn't even make the play-in.
One joke on a podcast almost destroyed KevinDurant and LeBronJames' credibility because they sat there laughing at the darkest moment in MichaelJordan's life like it was some casual story. They treated it like nothing, but the whole basketball world heard it, and CharlesBarkley made sure they paid for that slip-up. When Barkley spoke on live TV, he didn't just defend MichaelJordan, he exposed how fake today's stars can be when the cameras are rolling. He pulled the cover off everything they try to hide. LeBronJames launched his podcast, Mind the Game, with the idea that it would be deep basketball talk between real hoopers, but anyone who actually watches knows the truth. Every few episodes, they sneak in shots at the legends, and their favorite target is always the same: MichaelJordan. One day, KevinDurant came on as a guest. The conversation shifted to how exhausting long NBA careers can be and how mentally heavy the grind becomes after 10 years in the league.
It might not be in the team's best interest, in your best interest, to play all 82. Is that something you thought about at all since you made the goal?
That's a goal, but we'll see.
The next day,
I'm available to go and be in the pro. If OBJ shows up, he might score 100.
Durant started getting philosophical about the moment players ask themselves if they even want to keep pushing. Then he dropped the line that flipped everything. He said different players handle pressure in different ways. Some guys, according to Durant, take a break and try baseball for a while, then come back later, while others push through and play 22 straight seasons without stopping. Everybody knew exactly who he was talking about. The baseball comment was about Jordan in the 90s, and the 22 seasons was clearly a nod to LeBron, who burst out laughing like Durant just cracked the perfect joke on Jordan. You know what I'm saying? That's what they added, like it was all some funny performance. And you'd think it was just a joke, but they either forgot or didn't care about the real story behind it.
We come to practice, he's on one leg. Like he was hurt the second year, he was on one leg the whole year and played 82 games. Wow. And so he practiced every day and he played every game on one leg. And so you're like, man, MJ, why don't you just sit out? How can I be the leader of the team and sit out and y'all going through all the credit? I gotta be there.
I twist my ankle and I had a teammate, David Greenwood. He says, you twist your ankle, young fella, come over and sit with me. This is, you need to. I said, no, man, I'm trying to make a name for myself. There's no way I can sit. I need to get out there and show what I'm capable of. I want to play, I want to win, I want to make an impact.
MichaelJordan didn't leave basketball in 1993 because he was tired. He was mourning his father, who had just been murdered. James Jordan was murdered during a robbery that summer. And MichaelJordan, at the absolute peak of his powers, stepped away from the game to honor his father's memory. His dad always wanted him to play baseball, so Jordan followed that dream. That was respect, not running away. So when Durant throws out that baseball line with a grin, it's not just clueless, it's cruel, because he turns one of the most painful moments in Jordan's entire life into a quick punchline for his podcast moment. And LeBron, sitting right there laughing, basically co-signs it. Like, yeah, this is funny to us. Let's clear up the timeline. Jordan didn't retire after losing early or choking on a big stage. He retired after winning 3 straight championships, a real three-peat, standing on top of the world while carrying unimaginable grief. Calling that quitting isn't just wrong, it's disrespectful. And the irony is almost unbelievable, because the two guys making these comments, KevinDurant and LeBronJames, have their own history when it comes to loyalty.
You know what I'm saying?
You know how hard it is.
Some people say, I want to go play baseball.
Durant joined the Golden State Warriors right after they beat him in the playoffs, the same team that went 73-9 and already had Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. That move is still considered the weakest team switch in basketball history. After leaving Golden State, Durant demanded out of Brooklyn the moment things became tense, then went to Phoenix and soon wanted out of there too. And this is the same guy calling Michael Jordan a quitter for following his murdered father's dream. LeBron isn't too far off either. When things fell apart in Cleveland the first time, he ran to Miami to team up with D.W. Wade and Chris Bosh. And when that situation started fading, he packed up and went right back to Cleveland. When that Miami situation got messy, LeBron packed up and went straight to Los Angeles. Every time things got tough, he found a new exit, a new clean path out. So for these two to mock Jordan for stepping away after a three-peat while dealing with his father's death, that takes real nerve.
To have a long career, that's the goal, to be in the league for 20 years. I tell you, that's the goal.
You know, it's all about winning championships and winning.
Artis Gilmore told me one time, he played for Chicago, he said, if you expect to play a long time in this league, you better quit mopping up the floor. And I thought, well, he's crazy, because that's what basketball is all about.
Bird takes it away from Wilkins, goes to the floor and gets it up ahead.
Yeah, I'm 10, 12 years in, I got 4 MVPs and 4 championships, like, but do I still want to do this shit? You know what I'm saying?
You know how hard it is.
Some people say, I want to go play baseball.
Right?
Yeah. And then I want to come back. Or some people say, I'm going to go 22 straight.
This rest stuff just drives me crazy. You're playing basketball for a living, okay? I understand if you're working in a coal mine, that you may need a rest day after it. You're playing basketball.
But you have to really play hard. Does that hurt you physically?
No, because when I play hard all the time. You know, there's no turn it on here, turn it off here. It's just 110% at all.
But Durant didn't stop there. He kept pushing this idea that the real accomplishment in basketball is just playing 20 years, not championships, not MVPs, not dominating the game, just staying around long enough to collect checks and call it greatness. LeBron nodded along like Durant had just dropped ancient wisdom. And that's exactly where their whole argument collapses. Michael Jordan never chased longevity. He chased perfection every single season. His only mission was to be the best version of himself, win championships, and control both ends of the floor with insane intensity. Jordan never cared if that meant a shorter career. He literally said, if I burn out, I burn out. That just means my career's short and I'll go play golf.
You play basketball 2.5 hours a day, 3 hours a day, right? That's your job. That's what you get paid to do as an NBA player. What are you doing the other 21 hours? I mean, to me, that's when you should be preparing for your next day of work.
Kobe didn't want to disappoint his fans, especially the ones in the 300 sections that saved up to watch him play. I remember asking him why he couldn't just sit a game out because he was hurting. He said, "What about the fans that saved up to watch me play just once?" He never forgot about his fans.
Compare that to what Durant is preaching. That surviving 20 years is the goal, not greatness, not legacy, just staying in the league long enough to stretch out a resume. Jordan played 13 full seasons, and in that time, he won 6 championships, 6 finals MVPs, 5 regular season MVPs, 10 scoring titles, and made 9 all-defensive teams. That's not normal dominance. That's near perfection, packed into basically a decade. Now look at Durant and LeBron together. 39 seasons combined, almost triple Jordan's timeline. And what do they have? 6 championships total, 5 MVPs, 6 finals MVPs, and 5 scoring titles. In nearly 40 years between them, they've achieved less than Jordan did in 10 years at full power. Think about that for a second. Twice the time on the court, but barely half the achievements to show for it.
All right, Laker Nerd asks, why is the triangle offense less utilized in today's game?
To try to run the triangle offense right now, it'd be very challenging, just because how the game is played and also how defense is covering.
10 to shoot. Jake going right to the rack. No defensive communication.
Why is ring culture so much more prevalent in the NBA than in other sports?
Yeah, it's funny, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it's discussed so much in our sport and why it's the A-all, B-all of everything.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
What do you think of when you hear the term load management thrown around?
It shouldn't be needed, first and foremost. You know, I never wanted to miss a game because it was an opportunity to prove. It was something that I felt like, you know, the fans are there to watch me play. I want to impress that guy.
Like you mentioned a little bit about today's game, because we had Club on here and he talked about load management. He said, I don't know what the hell that is. Where is it going? And that's number one. And number two, how do we get it back?
Even for me, I love the NBA game, but then I turn on to a game, right? And then the stars are not playing because of load management. It's hurting the game.
CharlesBarkley watched all this play out and finally said he'd had enough. When someone asked him about KevinDurant's legacy on live TV, he didn't soften anything. He went straight at the truth with full force. Kevin's a great player, Barkley said, but his legacy is complicated. And then he broke down exactly why. Barkley made it clear he has zero respect for players who jump onto super teams instead of fighting through the hard parts. He specifically called out LeBron for teaming up with Wade and Bosh in Miami. And then he compared all of that to MichaelJordan. Michael didn't join anybody, Barkley said. He just kept getting beat up, got bigger and stronger, and finally broke through. That line hit different because it's real talk. Jordan stayed in Chicago through every tough loss to Detroit. He didn't run. He didn't form a super squad. He didn't find a shortcut. He stayed in the fire until he finally won. That's a whole different type of mentality. Then Barkley shifted right to Durant. He pointed out that outside of Golden State, Durant hasn't been successful anywhere. Brooklyn got swept, Phoenix missed the playoffs, and every time Durant tried to be the #1 leader without a stacked roster, the entire situation fell apart. He wants to be in the GOAT conversation, Barkley said flat out. He's not, plain and simple. No hesitation, no smoothing it over. Just the truth on national TV. For the first time in years, someone with a big platform finally said what everyone had been thinking. The LeBron and KD media wave ran unchecked for so long that people forgot you're allowed to challenge them. But Barkley wasn't just defending Jordan. He was defending the soul of basketball itself. There's a real pattern in the NBA right now where modern players try to rewrite history, make old legends look outdated or overrated, and LeBron has been leading that campaign for years. Remember when LeBron said, "We done with the 90s"? That wasn't some throwaway line. That was him trying to dismiss an entire era that built the real definition of greatness in basketball. He's been doing this for a long time, trying to downplay the past instead of lifting himself up through his own work. Instead of accepting that Jordan faced a brutal league, he tries to spin it like MJ had it easy, like the competition wasn't serious, like the grind wasn't real. But the facts crush that narrative instantly. Jordan didn't beg for help, didn't run off to form a super team. He stayed, he battled, and he won the hard way. That's the difference Barkley was pointing at. Respect in this league isn't something you receive just because you say it. You earn it with what you actually do. And if you're going to mock Jordan, you better make sure your own resume is bulletproof. The disrespect hits even harder when you understand how Jordan approached the game. When he entered the NBA as a rookie in 1984, he played all 82 games, every single one. That season, 40 players in the league went a full schedule. And Jordan still averaged over 38 minutes per night. He came in built like an Iron Man. And this was during a time when the game was way more physical. Teams flew commercial, had one trainer, practices were tough every day, and back-to-backs were non-stop. Yet players still showed up because that was the mentality back then. If you could play, you played. In the 1999 to 2000 season alone, 58 players played all 82 games. 58. Compare that to today, where recent seasons have broken records for the worst player availability in NBA history. And that's happening even though modern players have every possible advantage. Private jets, full medical teams, sports science, nutrition experts, world-class facilities, everything. So why are they playing less than ever before? Because the mentality changed. Jordan talked about this without naming anyone, because the truth didn't need names. It was obvious. Jordan explained that he never wanted to miss games because every night was a chance to prove himself and give fans their money's worth. He wanted to impress the person sitting way up in the top deck, the one who probably worked all week just to afford a ticket. That's real respect for the game. Meanwhile, LeBron has only played a full 82-game season one time in over 20 years. One time. Players like Larry Bird, Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, and Allen Iverson did it multiple times, but the so-called face of the NBA, the guy chasing Jordan's legacy, has only done it once. And when LeBron sits out games for rest, it sends a message across the whole league. If the best player can skip games, then everyone else feels like they can too. It spreads fast. Role players start resting, bench guys start resting, and suddenly the whole culture shifts to treating regular season games like they barely matter. And now you even have players sitting out playoff games. That would have never flown in Jordan's era because Jordan set a completely different standard. When Michael Jordan was the face of basketball, players competed, they showed up, they battled through pain, and they pushed themselves because that's what leaders did. Jordan himself once missed 64 games with a broken foot, and management wanted him shut down for the whole season. Jordan refused. He came back on a strict minutes limit, and when games got tight in the final seconds, he demanded to be on the floor, and the crowd went wild. Jordan got his way, and he played. That's real leadership. That's what the face of a league is supposed to look like. And there's a bigger issue people need to see in this podcast era. Tearing down legends isn't just tolerated anymore, it's encouraged. Players like Jeff Teague, Tracy McGrady, Dwayne Wade, Gilbert Arenas, and now Durant and LeBron keep throwing shots at Jordan and Kobe like it's the new trend. Everybody keeps looking up at the legends on the top of the mountain. And the quickest way to get attention today is to take a swing at them. But Jordan never needs to clap back directly. His legacy does all the talking for him. His 6 championships speak louder than any podcast take. His perfect finals record speaks for him. His highlight reel speaks for him. And most of all, his mentality, the mindset that shaped the NBA, speaks for him every single time. Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, and Larry Bird earned everything they ever got. When big companies came calling with endorsements and sponsorships, those guys had already proved themselves on the floor. They had results that justified all the hype. Today, players get max contracts and signature shoe deals before playing a single NBA minute. They get paid off potential instead of performance, and that breeds entitlement. When everything is handed to you early, you don't grind the same way. You don't appreciate the platform the way the old legends did. Jordan's rookie contract was tiny compared to what rookies make now. He had to earn every dollar, every commercial, every bit of respect through real work. That hunger is what made him great. And that's the piece modern players keep missing. So when Durant says the goal is simply playing 20 years, he reveals the gap between his generation and Jordan's. Jordan never wanted to hang around. He wanted to dominate, to be the best, to leave a legacy nobody could reach. And he did all that in just 13 full seasons. Durant and LeBron have nearly 40 seasons combined, and they're still chasing shadows they can't catch. Here's the twist nobody's talking about. NBC just brought Michael Jordan back into the NBA spotlight. And why? Because even now, more than 20 years after he retired, Jordan still has more pull and influence than LeBron or even Adam Silver. When Jordan speaks, the whole league listens. If Jordan says players should compete, should show up for games, should respect the fans, that message actually hits. It changes the culture because it comes from someone the sport still trusts. Jordan's real response to Durant and LeBron isn't some podcast rant or a Twitter message. His response is the fact that he's still more relevant than every superstar playing today. His response is that his name still carries more weight than anyone in the modern NBA, even after retiring more than 20 years ago. And when the league needs help fixing its culture, they don't call LeBron, they call MichaelJordan. Durant and LeBron can laugh on their podcast all they want. They can dismiss championships. They can shrug off the triangle offense. They can downplay everything Jordan built. But guess what? They're still measured against him every single time. Every debate still circles back to Jordan. Every all-time list still has him at #1. And no amount of longevity, no social media influence, no polished media machine is ever going to change that. CharlesBarkley understood something huge when he went on TV and said what he said. He wasn't just defending Jordan's legacy. He was defending the game itself because there's a dangerous cycle forming right in front of everyone. LeBron and KD are chipping away at the past to make themselves look better, but they're creating the same culture that's going to come back and erase their legacies one day. Soon enough, they'll retire. And that same wave of disrespect they pushed is going to turn around and hit them. The next generation, players who never watched them play live, will call them overrated. They'll say the competition was weak. They'll mock their failures and rewrite their careers the same way LeBron and KD are trying to rewrite Jordan's and Kobe's. That's the loop they started, and they won't be able to escape it. That's why Barkley's message mattered so much. You don't get to rewrite NBA history just because the truth doesn't fit your storyline. You don't get to clown the 90s when that era built the very foundation the league still stands on. Everything players benefit from today comes from the foundation those legends built. And whether LeBron and KD want to admit it or not, the same era they're disrespecting will eventually become their era too. One day, it'll be their turn in the hot seat. And when that moment comes, no podcast joke is going to protect them. LeBron's recent behavior already shows this shift happening. Launching a podcast wasn't about honoring basketball. It was about controlling the narrative and keeping his name in every conversation. Calling himself the GOAT in interviews, talking about never having help, chasing the spotlight nonstop. After 20 years, people are finally starting to see through it. And when LeBron laughs at Jordan's pain like it's some harmless punchline, those moments quietly chip away at his own legacy. You can't mock a legend and expect the basketball world to overlook it. LeBron has always been elite at working the media, but this time the mask is slipping. When emotion, truth, and legacy collide, no amount of PR magic can save you. MichaelJordan didn't spend his career chasing 20-year seasons. He chased perfection. He maximized every single year, won championships, won MVPs, dominated both ends, and left everything on the floor every night. If that meant burning out early, so be it. Because that's the mentality that separates real legends from stat collectors. In one single podcast episode, LeBronJames and KevinDurant tried to rewrite history. They laughed at the era that built the modern NBA. They joked about one of the most tragic moments in sports history like it was just another comedy bit. And they assumed nobody would call them out. But CharlesBarkley did, and his message couldn't have been clearer. The GOAT debate was never just about numbers or awards. It was about respect, about how you carried yourself, about what you stood for when pressure hit. And in that category, MichaelJordan still runs the game by a mile. No amount of podcast laughs or longevity stats can change that, because true greatness doesn't need 20 years to make its point. Sometimes it only takes one moment, one season, one era to show the world what the best really looks like. Jordan had 13 of those seasons, and that's still more than enough to stand alone at the top. If you respect the real history of basketball and think players need to stop rewriting the past, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment, and share this with someone who needs to see it. Did LeBron and KD cross the line, or is this just part of the modern game? Because this debate isn't ending anytime soon. We're just getting started.